Hello, my name is Ronnie, and I am the marketing director and resident meal planning expert at Plan to Eat. And we recently got a question from a customer relating to meal planning around a vacation, whether it was meal planning on the vacation, meal planning before and after a vacation. And let me tell you what, I have a lot of tips. My first tip related to meal planning for a vacation is before you leave, plan less. This means in your meal plan, add fewer recipes to your week than you normally would, and make sure that the recipes that you plan have exact serving sizes for the people who are going to be eating. So that way you're not left with a bunch of leftovers or extra random ingredients that you weren't able to use all of before you leave. If you do end up with leftovers, you can freeze those, and most recipes freeze really well. If you want specific recipes in your meal plan, just in case you might have leftovers that you want to freeze, I think things like soups, curries, casseroles, anything that's a little saucy is going to freeze really well because the sauce is going to help preserve all of the things inside of it. I also recommend getting something like super cubes and freezing individual portions of your recipes or investing in a vacuum sealer so that way you minimize the amount of frostbite that your food gets in the freezer. Also, if you buy vegetables, stay away from more of the leafy green and tender vegetables because if you're not able to finish those right away before you leave, those are probably going to go bad while you're gone. However, vegetables that are a little hardier, like cabbage or carrots, certainly winter squashes, those are going to stay in your fridge a little bit longer. And depending on the length of your vacation, might still be good by the time you get back. I'm going to link in the description to a podcast episode that we did all about freezer recipes and just tips for utilizing the freezer. It is Plenty Podcast episode number 60. And once again, there's a link in the description of the video. Another tip for before you leave for vacation is have kind of a smorgasbord or like a fend for yourself kind of night before you leave to eat up the rest of your perishable items or any leftovers that you have that are just kind of lingering in the fridge. This is going to help you not throw away so much food. And while these meals might be a little eclectic, sometimes they can be really fun. And it definitely helps so that you're not wasting so much food before you leave for a vacation. If you are traveling somewhere where you are driving and have the ability to bring a few kitchen essentials with you, I highly recommend doing so. One thing that I always bring if I'm driving somewhere and staying at an Airbnb is I bring my sharp chef's knife because notoriously the homestays that I've been at have had really bad cutlery. So do yourself a favor, bring your favorite knife. My coworker Shelby always brings some spatulas with her. And another thing that I typically bring are some Tupperware or glass containers. So that way, if any of the recipes we do make at our homestay have leftovers, we can easily save them and don't have to scramble for, going to the grocery store and buying extra Tupperware just so that we can save the food that we prepared. You can also bring some of your favorite spices. I specifically think that a spice mix is a great thing to bring because then you don't have to bring a bunch of individual spices. A lot of Airbnbs and homestays, certainly hotels, even if they're the kind with a kitchenette, don't have very many spices, or maybe they're just not very high quality. And if that is something that you really value in your recipes, like I do, just bringing a few of your favorites can really help add some flavor and some excitement to the recipes that you might make on vacation. Also, if you're driving, you can pack a cooler with some frozen meals already. So that way you might not have to cook while you're on vacation, but still eat a home cooked meal. You can pack snacks and also potentially any of those perishable items that you weren't able to finish before you left. So that way those things are less likely to go to waste as well. Okay, if you are in the situation where you would like to grocery shop while you are on vacation because you want to make some home cooked meals, some suggestions that I have are to only buy what you need. Similar to before you leave for vacation, make sure you have exact serving sizes and quantities for the food that you buy so that you're not left with a bunch of leftovers or you have, random ingredients that are hanging out at the place that you're staying that you're not going to be able to use and you end up throwing away. I also think it's important to leave room for going out to eat. There's a really great balance that you can strike between cooking home cooked meals on vacation as well as going out to eat and experiencing the local food. It can be incredibly expensive to eat all of your meals out at a restaurant. So, like I said, finding that balance between eating at home some and then eating out at restaurants is really great. And what I suggest is to plan and shop for only about half of the meals that you will have during your vacation. That way, you once again, have some room for those spontaneous outings to restaurants. But also, if the recipes that you make do have leftovers, you're not ending up with so much food by the end of your vacation that you end up wasting it. All right, one of the biggest struggles about coming home from a vacation is just being totally unmotivated to create a meal plan or being really uninspired because you don't even remember what you were doing when you were meal planning before vacation. So, one of my main tips is to create a meal plan for your post vacation before you leave. Even if it's only planning 2 to 3 recipes in the couple days after you get home from vacation, I think it's really important. It's gonna take away a lot of the stress of getting home from vacation and then being like, "Oh my gosh, we have to figure out what to eat now." And it just gives you a little bit of a stepping off point so that you can get, like, back into your groove and back into your routine before you have to make a full meal plan again. One of the things that I have done when I didn't take my own advice and created a meal plan for before I left was I created a meal plan in the airport when I was on my way home. You can kinda take those moments of downtime to your advantage in this, and it's still not gonna be super easy to get your mind back into the planning mode, but it is going to save you a lot of headache once you're actually home. Now, if you are struggling to figure out what recipes you actually would like to plan once you're home from vacation, one thing that I like to do is go through my past meal plans and just remind myself what we were eating before we left for vacation. So most of the time we're not leaving for multiple months at a time. It's just maybe 1 to 2 weeks. And so we're still in this mood for the same kind of recipes. If it's winter, we're interested in winter warm recipes. If it's summer, we're still interested, in salads and things like that. So I think just looking back through what you were using right before vacation for your meal plan, you can often replan a lot of those recipes. And because you've been on vacation, it doesn't feel like you've been eating the same thing over and over again. If you use Plan to Eat, it can make it really easy to get your meal plan ready for when you come back from vacation. One thing that I have done now that I have struggled to create a meal plan post vacation is I just created a menu. I saved a meal plan that I made previously, and it is pretty much always my post vacation meal plan. It includes really simple recipes that are quick and easy to make. So that way I'm not struggling to get back into the routine of everything as well as make elaborate recipes when I come home from vacation. And something else that you can do if you have already created your meal plan before you went for vacation is when you're on your way home again in the airport or, in a taxi ride, you can order your groceries for pickup or delivery. So that way you don't have to also make a trip to the grocery store when you're on your way home. You can get things done in advance that way and kind of avoid the added stress of needing to go to the grocery store. If you have your own tips for meal planning around vacation or meal planning while you're on vacation, I would love to hear them. Please leave me a comment below this video, and I would love to be able to share some more comments that anyone has about meal planning around vacation. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again in another video.